science fans, and welcome to SHE-ensya. Our topic for today is the scientific evaluation of the Last of Us universe. But before we proceed, this video contains information about The Last of Us and The Last of Us 2 games that may spoil your enjoyment of it. Watch at your own risk.
What if it's true?
In a rainy July, about 7 years ago, my ex-boyfriend and I embarked on a journey with Ellie and Joel to aid in the development of a life-saving vaccine to a pandemic that has brought the world to its knees. The Last of Us took us on a cross-country adventure across a post-apocalyptic US of A fighting against cannibals, raiders, and zombies. But the zombies, or the infected, in the Last of Us universe is slightly different from your typical run-of-the-mill living dead. Though their origins have yet to be explained, even with the latest iteration of the game, their mode of infection is actually pretty well understood. The infected are the result of a sudden outbreak of a mutant cordyceps fungus that now affects human beings as opposed to insects. The fungus infects the human brain, growing inside the brain tissue, erasing memories, and modifying the host's instincts to seek no goal other than spreading the spores to others. Eventually, the fungus kills its host and will then grow out of the host's body to spread spores. As most science fiction goes, The Last of Us is quite terrifying because it is rooted on something very real, which is the cordyceps fungi itself. Cordyceps is a genus of sac fungi that includes about 400 species. Most cordyceps species are endoparasitoids, meaning they are parasitic mainly on insects. Researchers think the fungus found in tropical forests infect foraging insects through spores that attach and penetrate the exoskeleton and slowly takes over its behavior. As the infection advances, the enthralled insect is compelled to move somewhere favorable to the fungus's growth and wait for its death. In the Last of Us universe, the apocalypse begins when the fungus jumps from its typical insect hosts to humans, presumably in the same way other pathogens such as the swine flu and the more recent COVID-19 transitions across different species as their hosts. Because every virus has evolved to target a particular species, it's rare for a virus to be able to jump to another species. When this does happen, through a process called zoonosis, it's by chance, and it usually requires a large amount of contact with the virus. Initially, the virus is usually not well suited to the new host and doesn't spread easily. Over time, however, it can evolve in the new host to produce variants that are better adapted. When pathogens jump to a new host species, they often cause severe diseases. This is because a host and its pathogen usually evolve together, and so the host eventually develops resistance to the disease caused by the pathogen. However, when a new host is infected, it may have yet to evolve in order to adapt to the presence of the virus or pathogen. So, a severe disease occurs.
Where the hell are all these coming from? The place was clear last time.
In the Last of Us universe, infected hosts will go through 4 different stages of infection: the runner, the stalker, the clicker, the bloater, or the shambler. Each stage is more dangerous than the last. There's also the unique Rat King stage in the more recent game. All of those infected will eventually die in a dark, humid location to release spores to infect more hosts. And just like the species that infects ants, the fungus that eventually brings down humanity transforms its hosts into a slave that will automatically do its bidding. And just like the species of cordyceps that transforms the corpses of tarantulas into living bodies of art, the fictional fungus also creates elaborate fruiting bodies on its hosts. This combination of solid science and beautiful art creates for a terrifying picture of an apocalypse. In the first game, our primary motivation is to find the mysterious group called the Fireflies in order to help create a vaccine to help stop the spread of the fungus. And since Ellie is immune to the fungi, she might actually be the key in the creation of this vaccine. Things fall apart when Joel finds out that Ellie will have to die in order to create this vaccine.
Sweet Jesus.
Doctor?
What are you doing in here? I won't let you take her. Don't...
Come on, baby girl. I got you. I got you. We're okay. We're okay.
And this sets up the tragic path of The Last of Us 2 that begins with the falling out of Joel and Ellie and a harrowing path of death and revenge that any of those who ventured into the universe of The Last of Us would be left in pain, in tears, or in anger. But the thing is, do you really have to kill an immune individual in order to create a vaccine? Because you see, vaccines are made by taking viruses or bacteria and weakening them so that they can't reproduce, or so that they can't replicate at all. Individuals given vaccines are exposed to enough of the virus or bacteria to develop immunity, but not enough to make them sick. What this means is, any doctor or molecular biologist on duty, Abby's dad, should have acquired active portions of the cordyceps fungi and studied its molecular structure. They could then create a weakened version of the fungi and use it to create the vaccine that would have allowed the protection of the human race. They would have been able to do it in about 2 to 5 years also. And what this means is, Ellie would not have to be sacrificed, and Joel wouldn't have had gone into a rampage that eventually killed Abby's dad, and therefore The Last of Us 2 should not have happened. Currently, there are no immunotherapeutics or vaccines approved for the treatment or prevention of fungal infections. Several candidates are in the preclinical stage of development, and 2 vaccines against Candida are undergoing clinical trials. Most existing fungal infections can be treated with antibiotics, and of course, our own immune system prevents its spread across our bodies. So yeah, that's science trying to tell us that a lot of these nightmare-inducing events could have been avoided.
The valley of the shadow of death, and I fear no evil because I'm blind to it all.
My husband, and I have been on this trip called The Last of Us 2 for the past 2 weeks. And as much as I would love to hate the game, it made me reflect on how much of our humanity can we keep intact if the world was allowed to fall apart. And as my heart kept on breaking into a million tiny little pieces for Joel, for Ellie, for Abby, and for everyone trapped in that universe, it also made me realize how much we need good science in order to make sure that our society will remain intact. I hope you were able to learn something from this short video on the scientific evaluation of The Last of Us 2. If you want to see more of this content, please let me, your resident Filipina scientist, know in the comments section below. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and also to subscribe to our channel. Musco says hi! thank you very much and see you around!